Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Lackawanna City Council caucus. The meeting will follow immediately after the caucus, and as many are aware, the caucus is used by the City Council to review the individual agenda items. This is our opportunity to discuss it amongst ourselves and debate one way or the other. The formal voting actually takes place at the meeting, which will be called to order right after the caucus. Regarding hearings from citizens, I would caution you as far as this meeting is being recorded. Also, the agenda item pertaining to Airbnb will accept or will entertain people who are willing to speak, but if they're going to be the same items discussed again, we are not going to entertain that. So if you have new items to bring up, you're more than welcome to do that. Rehashing what we've been through numerous times will not be effective. All right, to that end, the first several agenda items are departmental. We'll move right down to communications from the mayor. Mayor, following request City Council approved the contract with Erie County for $800,000 for Erie County to capital projects contract attached. I would ask our city attorney, John Gahn, to expound on that.
Sure. So this agenda item was, these were monies that were from Erie County for tax years 2023 and then tax year 2024, $400,000 allocation in each year. And it deals with a special grant, federal grant, that Erie County has the ability to give to certain municipalities. So here in Western New York, that would be the City of Buffalo, Tonawanda, and Lackawanna. And $400,000 was allocated in 2023, but it was never actually provided to the city. Then in 2024, there was a $400,000 allocation, which totals to $800,000. And this $800,000 was talked about here in the city of Lackawanna during the budget process. And I believe all the council persons are aware of that $800,000. And it was a Department of Law or a mayor's office oversight that this contract was actually signed and executed in October 2024 without that contract coming to the city council. So my apologies for that. But we ask that it be passed or authorized in retroactive as of October 2024.
Thank you, John. Bill before Pelican, they say, right?
Yes.
Any council members have any questions or comments on item number 5? Moving on to item number 6, communications from Division Department Heads. Director of Parks and Recreation, Brian Laxo, requests City Council approve use of Veterans Stadium for LA Sports Club on Saturdays and Sundays from 10 a.m. to 8 p.m. beginning Monday, May 3rd, ending July 31st, 2025. Insurance information is attached. Brian, anything you want to say regarding that?
No, this is a standard agreement that we have on an annual basis with the LA Sports Club. They provide a lot of programming for the youth in our community, and they always do a terrific job, so we're happy to help them have an arena to put on their events.
And they do a good job.
They always do a good job.
For the kids. Any council members have any questions or comments on item number 6? Item number 7, there was a request to remove from the agenda that was granted. Item number 8 from the city attorney, request city council approve resolution waiving residency requirement for the new assistant city attorney. City Attorney Gahn, you want to talk about that a little bit?
So John Grinnell is a seasoned attorney. He does prosecutions and other assistant attorney work for towns and municipalities in Angola, Brant, and Evans. And we asked, he was the best and most qualified candidate that came before the law department to fill the assistant city attorney position / city prosecutor. The issue at bar here is that he is not a resident of Lackawanna. He actually lives in Brant. So we think he's best for the job, and we ask that you waive the residency requirement and that Mr. Grinnell be officially appointed the Assistant City Attorney / City Prosecutor.
And you've exhausted a search for any attorneys within the city for this, correct?
Correct.
And through legal careers, Mr. Grinnell has demonstrated his ability to practice law for a long time. And in fact, he served at one time at least as a prosecuting attorney for other municipalities. Is that correct?
That is correct, and he currently serves as a prosecuting attorney in Brant and Evans.
Thank you. Any council members have any questions or comments on item number 8? Moving on to item number 9 for the city attorney, I request city council approve authorizing mayor sign the agreement between city and Book Third Inc. Book Third Inc. provides online services allowing the public to view available sports and recreational facilities owned by the city and to process payments for various reservations. Book Third Inc. shall retain a 5% fee when booked through their company, and the remaining 95% shall be dispersed to the city. The agreement is attached. I have some comments, and without taking away from whatever this entity wishes to do, I don't see where we're not doing that already with the city and not being charged for it. Our city staff does this. There's never been a complaint or a problem I'm aware of. It appears to me that the company preserves or prepares a website that people can access, but in item number, paragraph 1.1, company responsibilities, the company shall also provide initial training and ongoing support to designated city staff on the use of the platform and ensure regular maintenance and updates to the platform to maintain functionality, security, and compatibility. As either Director Laxo or City Attorney Jack Gunn, do you know, is there a larger target market here that we reach, that we don't reach as a city?
I'll go first, you can answer after. There may be, but basically it is software that enhances the ability for the city to manage, maintain, and also collect for reservations and use of public facilities. And it puts it all under one umbrella, as opposed to people who may be calling the city right now and I don't know, the Director of Recreation will have to advise how everything is currently tracked, but this is software that actually does the tracking.
Brian, anything in your?
Yeah, if you, I could probably best describe what we have in place now versus what this program would offer. As it stands now, we don't have, being a small city, we don't have a ton of recreational spaces that are used for rent or for different youth activities, things like that. So we're able to, just through Excel files and handmade calendars that myself and Kathy Mariano put together, we're able to handle that end of it fairly smoothly at this point. As the stadium project comes together and more activities are in place at the stadium, as far as volleyball or the ice rink or whatever we decide to put there, there could be an increased demand for use of those facilities, and this could be helpful. Where it's more helpful is not on the city's end, it's more helpful from the public's end in that they can look at what facilities are available, what dates are available, what dates are reserved, and rather than them having to mail us a check or come in and pay us a fee, they can pay registration fees and reservation fees online, which is going to be a convenience to the public.
And
as far as
30-day lag period before the city gets that check also.
that, I'm not certain of. I don't. Yeah, I'm not certain what the exact time is.
But let me also point out to you that in paragraph 1.1, It says the municipality shall, paragraph B and C, designate a liaison to facilitate communication and coordination with the company and promote the use of the platform to the public. This shall include, but not by way of limitation, inclusion of links on municipality website, redirecting the public to company platform. We're doing that already, aren't we? So that instead of having to redirect it, that's a step that our staff has to take to redirect it when they can handle it themselves right when they're contacted.
I think the fact, there's gonna be some hiccups coming out of the gate if we do decide to do this, but I think once the technology is established and in place and online for the public to use, I think that is not gonna be a repeatable hiccup. I think it's gonna be the kind of thing that once it's set up properly, it's going to run smoothly.
But you
by
made the
theory.
point, we don't have a lot of recreational property in the city that would be subject to this agreement.
It is true. Again, this isn't a necessity. To me, at this point, it's not a necessity, but I can see the value going forward from a departmental standpoint. And I could definitely see how this would enhance the public's ability to utilize our facilities instead of having to call during office hours, ask what's available. You know, they could go on, if they come up with a bright idea at 11 o'clock on the Thursday, you know, at night, they can go on and go, oh, this is available. You know, I'll look into, you know, trying to reserve that. I can see the utility to the public being of greater impact than it being a help for city workers.
We need a third-party entity to do that for us when we can't do that on our own computers.
Well, you're talking about our own computers and our online functionality. That's another department altogether.
Yeah, that's a Gene's department. And finally, there is an issue regarding the optics here, and I'm not gonna go into that any further. That may require an executive session, and I'm not asking for an executive session, but I think the council needs to take a good hard look at this because there could be criticism.
I have a question.
Yes.
So if a sports club wants to rent a facility, they go online and they book it, pay for it. Where does that put us as a city council where we have to approve these things like we have traditionally done, accepting their insurance policies, making sure everything is in order, whereas the sports club would assume that they have locked in and secured a location just to find out later that they didn't have the appropriate insurance or whatever the case may be.
I don't know that the facilities that you're discussing that are used by the LA Sports Club or Little Loop or Boys Association, if they want to use the senior center or Veteran Stadium, those aren't facilities that we typically just rent out. It's not like
Just like today's, like, for example.
right, yeah, I don't think that this would apply to situations like that because those aren't facilities that we typically, we don't rent those out to anybody. We allow our youth groups to utilize those as an assist to them for all the hard work that they're doing. But if you wanted to say, give them the senior center on Fridays for them to have their chess club or something like that, versus someone saying, hey, we want to rent the senior center for like a banquet type thing, that's something we don't allow. But we do allow the youth groups to utilize that. So I think that this is, let me just complete my thought. I think that what they're looking for, and someone from Book Third could answer this better than I could, but I think what they're looking for is like the rentals of our shelter at Galani Park or the bocce court or things like that, things that we do actually charge a fee for rental for. So it's kind of apples and oranges between what we do for our youth groups on a free basis versus what we charge the public for reservations. Again, you know, those are questions that maybe Book Third would be able to answer better than I would.
And in those events, the bocce court or the senior center, Galante Park shelters, those are few and far in between where it's not a heavy burden, would you say, for the city to have someone come in and book it for a reunion on a July Saturday? I mean, is it really that big of a deal where we would have to outsource the platform?
That's what I'm trying to get at.
Again, currently, as I stated, this isn't something that I am looking at and saying, this would really be a huge help to my department.
Okay.
As the programs and different facilities expand, and maybe we do have more people that are, whatever the stadium project turns into in the future, are there rentable facilities at that point? Possibly. Again, though, it's not something that is really going to enhance my department's ability to do its job, but it's the convenience, I think, is gonna come from the public side of the equation.
Hey, Brian, I just have one more comment.
Shoot.
The city has experienced repeat business from regular customers who rent from us. There's no provisions in this contract that would exclude a fee being charged and payable to this entity for renters who come to the city regularly. They've done so for years. So, to me, I think we're paying for something we don't need. But that's my opinion.
Gotcha.
Anyone else have any comments on that? I forgot where we are.
That was number 9.
Thanks. Anyone else have any comments on number 9? If not, then moving on to number 10. City attorney to request city council approve the ordinance prohibiting transient or short-term rentals. City council, any comments?
Your Honor, I do have, some things that I'd like to, expound on in regards to this topic. It's something that we've been discussing since like last year, February, where it's come to our attention that there's been unregulated operations of short-term rentals within our city. No inspections, no regulations, nothing put on paper as to what a host may have to go through in order to register these types of facilities. And it's something that we've taken very seriously. The Director of Development and City Attorney and us as a council have had public conversation about this. We've spoken with hosts. We've heard from citizens who have no stake in the game, but they have an interest as far as living in a certain community and them wanting to maintain a certain lifestyle within their neighborhoods. So this is not something that we've taken lightly by any means. And there's something that is important that the hosts need to hear as well. We've heard your complaints. We've heard what you are missing out on as far as if this passes tonight or not. We've heard that you have a financial stake in all of this. Trust me, it did not fall on deaf ears. However, we also have an obligation to our residents. They are the ones who not only pay our salary, but they're paying the taxes to upkeep the whole city. Their opinions matter. The scarcity of rental homes for families it's something that I personally have a stake in because my residents and my constituents contact me and they express how they have not been able to find housing. That's not what my job description is as a city council member, to find them housing. However, I find it in my heart to assist them in that. Further decreasing the availability of houses will increase rent, which is already at an all-time high. Within the past couple of years, rent has grown exponentially to where it's a single bedroom apartment going upwards of tripling in price. Airbnbs will further exacerbate that situation. That's something that we as a council have to think about. Our obligations to families and residents in the city, in our city, it's the biggest thing that I, as a city council person, have to think about. There's families that have kids registered in schools. They're patrons to our businesses way more than the tourist that comes for a weekend in the summertime. These people are the ones that are keeping businesses afloat every single day. I have to take that into consideration. I cannot place the priorities of a person coming in for a wedding over the weekend over my residents and my constituents. That's not something that I can do.
Can I comment, please?
Absolutely.
First of all,
This has been going on for well over a year. We have not sat down to review any rules and regulations for the city of Lackawanna. Yet, all the surrounding areas, they do have rules and regulations, okay? And it just behooves me that, you know, in all this time, we haven't entertained sitting down and coming up with something. So I don't understand how we could even bring this to a vote because we didn't look into it any further. We've had personal discussions. I've had personal discussions, and I agree, and I visited the hosts, and they're doing an outstanding job. I don't see a huge problem here. But again, there should be rules and regulations. So how could you vote on something and shut these people down when you have no rules and regulations?
I believe
If the
that
person
we're
is not
today.
following, okay, the city code, they're not paying their taxes, let's say, or they're abusing the property, or they are having these, renting out and having these big parties and stuff like that. That's for law enforcement to go and shut it down, and code enforcement. Okay, but how can they do that again without rules and regulations? Okay, and that's what the problem we're having here today.
So there
Okay.
was a
Let me
commission,
just.
You can talk all about residents and renting out. I talk to people that have more problems with people renting their properties, that we have corporations that own 5 or 6 buildings on a street in Lackawanna, and they're a mess. They're falling apart, gutters are falling off and stuff like
Our
that.
responsibility as a city.
We need to start enforcing what we already have in place in this city. That's where our problem is. Whether it's delinquent taxes, it's rampant here, and it's gotta stop.
Okay, but isn't that a whole different topic than the topic at hand?
Somebody's trying to do a business and making money for themselves. I think it's fine, as long as they're doing it properly.
Okay.
We had a lady come in here, and she wanted to board dogs, okay? We had to say no, because it was in a residential area, okay?
Absolutely, which
Yeah.
wouldn't this
It's
fall into the same
understandable.
parameters?
Well,
No, I don't
my
agree.
point is simply this. First of all, we did talk about it at length and in depth because there was an ad hoc informal committee. Councilmember Maflahe was on it, Councilmember Anderson was on it, Director of Development was on it, and our city attorney was on it to explore all of the avenues and the options available. And there were options that were made available, but what it boils down to is it's an additional burden on an already burdened Director of Development office with our building inspectors. It's a burden on the courts. It's a burden on the police. And finally, there's a legal concept that when you buy a residential house, you're entitled to, quote, quiet enjoyment of that house. My point is, when you're running a business next door, that violates that term and that understanding where you bought that piece of property. You are no longer having quiet enjoyment of your residence because you have a business next door. And you can say all you want about how nice the properties look, and this is not a reflection on those who are responsible with this business. But it deters and detracts from the valuation of the surrounding buildings. So the fact that there's a nice building here and a nice building there, I don't see how at the end of the day that makes a difference if we just keep piling on more work for our building inspectors when they can't keep up what they have now. Sure, we have problems with our apartments, and the easy way out is the LLC because there's corporate protection for the individual for liability and lawsuits and so on and so forth. But the Airbnbs are LLCs also. So the question that becomes, who do you go see when it comes time to make a complaint? I'm just saying we're asking for more problems. We debated this and we directed the city attorney and we directed the director of development to come up with legislation and a proposal. There were alternatives they came up with, and this seemed to be the one that most people were interested in. Now, everybody has a vote, and it may be defeated today, but it's up to the council. I'm done debating this ad nauseum because we've been through this all before. And the telephone calls that we get from people who don't want to appear here because they're scared, Because they may be subject to retribution or criticism or whatever. These are older people. We have an older community. And this affects them. They're not here tonight, but I don't expect them to be here. So unless there's anything new here, anyone else want to make a comment?
Yeah, I do. This is a total ban on short-term rentals in the city forever. Is that what we're voting on tonight?
Well, it's a total ban as long as this legislation exists. If it's modified in the future or changed in the future by another administration, that's always a possibility. So no, it's not forever, and it's not etched in stone.
We were also told that if for short-term rentals in the city, we wouldn't be able to apply for grants.
We were told that.
We were told that. But there's other cities and towns in this area that have short-term rentals in their cities that have applied for grants and have received grants.
Carl, I don't have an answer.
Mr. Morano, may I?
Go ahead.
Yeah. Carl, Mr. Anderson, with all due respect, that's incorrectly, I'm not saying you, wherever you heard this from, that's incorrectly positioned.
It was in the paper.
That was not in the paper. I talked to the guy in the paper, so I know what was said to him. What was said was, not that Airbnb or Verbos were the source of being declined for those grants. What was said was that you take, and I'm using census data, Lackawanna is 6 square miles according to the census. Buffalo is 53 square miles, okay? What was said was if you lose X number of homes in a landlocked community like Lackawanna, part of being a pro-housing certified community, which is the foundation for applying for those grants,
Are we?
don't jump ahead of me. Let me finish my thought.
Sorry.
The pro-housing community requires you to either prove that you're growing housing or making a commitment to growing and preserving housing. The point being is if you are losing X numbers, whether it's 1, 10, 5, 50, debate the number all you want, and you can't replace those housing components because you're landlocked, because you can only do a one-off property. It's not saying, there's nowhere in the legislation that says Airbnb declines you from being a pro-housing community or from being granted. What was said and is being manipulated for the purposes of an argument is that you could be perceived as not being 100% committed to growing your housing if you're allowing your stock to walk out the door without replacing it. So now you take Buffalo, for example, they can lose an entire community in name your poison, Elmwood Avenue, whatever. They got 53 square miles compared to our 6. So they can grow housing. They've got acres and acres of empty lots that they're gonna do infill housing on. They're gonna do 400 houses with just one developer. I'm lucky that I can get 20 with 5. Okay, so the point is not that in the law it says Airbnb precludes you from grants. What it says is that you need to protect and preserve housing. And the point I've tried to make and is being manipulated for an argument and is incorrectly being manipulated for an argument is that we could be perceived as not meeting all of the litmus tests for being a pro-housing community. We are not a pro-housing community at the moment because this is one of a number of things that has been left in my lap to address. I will in context here, but I want to make it 1,000% clear that Chuck Clark, mayor I follow, nobody said that in the Governor Hochul legislation was Airbnb a prohibition to being a pro-housing community or applying for grants. That's false, complete narrative false.
So are we a pro-housing?
We are not. We didn't. I've said this 15 times already. We have not applied to be a pro-housing community
We
yet.
haven't applied for it, so how do we know we can't be?
Carl, I don't know that, but what I'm telling you is when I have to put the statistics together, okay, I'm saying, they're gonna say, where are you growing housing? How are you protecting your housing stock?
Okay,
And to allow, the bigger issue here is not even so much pro-housing community. The bigger issue here is violation of our own zoning codes. In our zoning code, single-family residential, acceptable site plan uses, these types of businesses, these types of properties are not allowed. Skip pro-housing community, skip grants. You're in violation of your zoning code. Flat out violation of your zoning code. Okay, and so what's the point of a zoning code if you're gonna violate the laws? So in single-family residential, these little properties that are basically mini motels are not allowed. If you move into mixed residential, it gives you an opportunity to do home-based businesses. So you could argue and say, well, if it's an owner-occupied property, maybe. And there's little nuances along the line. But the majority of these folks that are operating these are in single-family residential zoned areas. And we, as a city, are in violation of our own zoning codes. So I want to be 1,000% clear what we are and are not saying.
Thank you. Okay, all right.
I'm not done yet. The council last year gave the county 6 plots of land to build 6 new homes, right?
Mhm.
That's pro-housing.
It is. 6.
There are total, there's about 30 homes in this city for sale. That's pro-housing. People can buy homes in the city. Nobody's stopping anybody from buying homes or renting apartments.
Nobody said that, Carl. But I'm gonna go back to the councilwoman's point here. If I've got a property if I got a single-family home in Bethlehem Park,
Right.
single-family home on Meadowbrook, pick your single-family home location, okay? Pro-housing means you are protecting that home to be available for sale, for rent, and accessibly and affordably to individuals. Okay, that's what pro-housing means. Not that there's 20 houses for sale that you can come in and buy. That's not pro-housing. That's free market enterprise. Pro-housing means that you're trying to grow, protect, and preserve your housing stock. So the answer to your question is, you're asking me to apply for something that I need this legislation to be in place to either say we're this way or this way. And what I'm telling you is 6 houses is nothing. They've got one developer doing 400 houses in the city of Buffalo.
Buffalo's a lot bigger than that.
No, it's not. It's a smaller version of the same thing, and it exacerbates the problem. Those 6 houses may not represent a 1-to-1 wash of the 6 houses that may be taken out of circulation because they're an Airbnb. And now allow Airbnb anywhere?
Okay.
And you run the possibility of even more of them converting, and you don't have the ability to build new stock to replace it.
And Chuck, you're using the city of Buffalo because their ability to grow doesn't compromise their ability to apply for funding because they are a pro-housing market.
Skip City of Buffalo. I'll use the town of Lancaster, the town of Amherst, Clarence, the farm communities. They could snap their fingers tomorrow and put up 500 homes.
We have
And
a
we can't.
developer that wants to put up a building for 165 apartments. That doesn't count?
Where is he?
Where is he?
Carl, the likelihood of that happening is not as great as it was 2 years ago.
That's not what we're hearing.
Well, I don't know what you're hearing, but I talk to the guy 3 times a month, so I know what we're hearing.
But he still
He's-
has the opportunity.
He still has the opportunity. They all have the opportunity, Carl. And if he falls away, somebody else is gonna come in there. I'm gonna bring somebody else in there.
Maybe do something at a lower scale.
Whatever. At the end of the day here, folks, we can manipulate this point all we want. I'm gonna tell you flat out that where the issue is, we don't allow businesses in single-family residential neighborhoods. But a lot of these operations are in single-family residential neighborhoods. By allowing this to continue in any way, shape, or form, we are in violation of our zoning ordinances.
There are 2 properties that are.
Well, we're nitpicking here, right? We could argue this all day. You could say, I know a park property on the electric, and that should qualify us as a pro-housing community.
By passing this ordinance knocks them 2 people out. Totally. Because you're banning all Airbnbs in the
Okay,
city.
and that may very well be the case. So how do you save the other 28 or 35 that are still out there that will be excluded?
Right.
Well, right, I'm asking you
But
the question. What's your thought on
You're
that?
banning them all.
Well, I guess, Director of Development, can you just answer yes or no, or however you choose to? Currently, are any of these properties inspected or approved?
0.
Exactly.
They don't have to be. There's no laws in the city that tells you have to do.
Again, Mr. Council President, forgive me for interjecting here, but we're spinning for the sake of the story.
I agree.
Okay, and I'm gonna call it for what it is. If this were any other business, there's a young man who's trying to take a 100-year-old building on Lackawanna and open a deli, okay? Doesn't matter what nationality he's from, doesn't matter where he comes from, okay? That guy has gone through site plan, he's gone through loading and stacking, which is meaning your parking. He has gone before the boards for variances to open up a deli to sell sandwiches, okay? Guy's not gonna make anywhere near the money that is being made with rentals, okay? Any business that comes into this community is going through zoning, planning, and the entire business certification process that includes law enforcement, background checks, and your ultimate approval of the business certificate. Not one of these properties from the city of Lackawanna. I don't know what they did with the county, don't care what they did with the county. The fact of the matter is, these are unlicensed businesses operating in the city of Lackawanna who have not undergone any of our reviews, any of our checks and balances, and the ones that are operating in single-family residential neighborhoods would never be allowed to operate a business in those neighborhoods to begin with.
Okay, we're gonna move on. Moving on to item number 11, city attorney requests city council approve proposed lease with a Little Loop INC lease agreement attached. Any council members have any comments or questions on item number 11? Moving on to item number 12, city attorney requests city council approve 2 resolutions as recommended by the city's bond council regarding IRS-driven post issuance tax compliance procedures and Securities and Exchange Commission-driven continuing disclosure compliance procedures. John, city attorney, care to expound on that at all?
I really don't unless there are questions. This is bond counsel recommending that we do what the law mandates when you borrow money, and that the resolutions are self-explanatory.
And that's our attorney that is recommending this.
Correct.
Yeah. Any council members have any questions? Moving on to the next item. Director of Public Safety requests City Council approve Commissioner B. status for Police Officer Casey Slevack. Any questions? Business registrations, Brown Motion, Trade Mini Mart, Inc., 169 Wilkes-Barre Retail Grocery Store. Anybody have any comments on that? Miles Jamison, Accuracy Printing, 2600 Hamburg Turnpike, Painting Headquarters, and Storage. Anybody have any comments on that? If not, I will call the meeting to order. Please stand for the pledge of allegiance. Pledge of allegiance to the
Flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. City clerk, call the roll.
Maflahe? Present. Anderson?
Here.
Moretti?
Here.
Sirdike?
Present.
Morano?
Here.
Law Department?
Here.
Development and Marketing?
Here.
Public Works?
Here.
Public Safety?
Here.
Assistant Comptroller?
Here.
Recreation?
Here.
All right, hearings from citizens. Again, I would reiterate, unless there's anything new to be said on the issue of Airbnbs, we will not entertain any further comments. We're not going to debate this again further. And along those lines, the first speaker would be Jacob Minifield.
For the council members, thanks for the time again. Like Mr. Clark said, he don't want to keep going back and forth with this. I don't either. All right, for the sake of argument, he's the known expert on this whole thing about the pro-housing community and everything. There's 2 ways to make the application, as he said. For the sake of argument, all I'm asking the council is to possibly vote no on the complete ban. If you can't do that tonight, then I ask that you table the item for further review. And upon that review, I would ask that Mr. Clark do his part in achieving the certification for pro-housing, which he has to submit a resolution, which is in that packet that I just gave you. There's a packet in there that says pro-housing communities model resolution. It's a template from New York State. All he has to do is fill in the blanks. City Council, you would approve it, and this is your commitment to committing to being a pro-housing community. Once he has this document, this is what he needs to make the application. There is other data that he does have to include in that, and some of that data he already has, all right? But from what I saw and spoke to the people from the state, they're looking at data from 2022. They might add 2023 now because now we're into the 25 fiscal year. So all I'm asking is if you can table it, if you can't vote no against it today, ask him to present this to you at the next council meeting this month. If you council members could approve this resolution from the state and then have him apply. The state says once this is received from Mr. Clark's office, it's a 90-day period where you'll get a decision if you achieve your pro-housing community certification. Also in that packet, I included the New York, the pros of housing community, and we're the second one that we highlight. This is the way we have to go because we cannot build as many houses like you already mentioned. We can't build hundreds of houses a year in Lackawanna. So the next way is the second option. The other picture you see here of the map, this is right from the state's community renewal website. It's a dashboard that shows here in every county all of the municipalities that have applied for certification, and it also shows the ones that have applied and been approved for pro-housing certification. And when you look at the map, you can see the blank spot between Hamburg and Buffalo. I wonder who lives there. That's us. No application has been made. The number shows 430 applications have been made, 273 have been approved. We haven't been approved because no application has been made. So all I'm asking the council to do is go through the process of elimination and apply for this certification. If we get the certification, then we can eliminate that as a reason for banning the Airbnbs. If we don't get the certification and this is the reason listed, then we're not going to fight you anymore. We understand the city needs money. Ironically, most of these downtown revitalization grants is to bring tourism to the city, but you need housing and lodging for tourism, all right? Also, I gave another list. These are the pro-housing communities. that
You
have
have
been
30
approved.
seconds.
I highlighted them. They have been approved. They do have the pro certification, and some of them have gotten the grants already. Also in the city charter, the rental dwelling registration 177, the first sentence is what? That's your code, Mr. Clark. What's the first sentence?
I don't know, you seem good at telling me how to do my job, so tell me what it is.
That's for sake of argument. I'll ask for part two.
Okay, let's,
All right, 177 says that long-term rentals, it says rental dwellings are considered or recognized by the city as a business. So what's the difference between short-term rentals being recognized as a
Mr.
business
Mitchell, your
and
time
the
is up,
long-term?
sorry, but thank you. Your time is up.
Okay.
Ridwan Fidel,
Pass.
Corey Hill,
Hi, thank you. I'll keep this short. It's clear that this council has not fully debated this issue in depth. As outlined in today's Buffalo News article, Chuck Clark presents the proposed measure as a pro-housing issue tied to our downtown revitalization grant and Lackawanna's qualifications for it. Clark contends that Lackawanna lacks the capacity to add new housing, a point that is true to an extent. However, according to the city stats website, approximately 14% of our housing stock, around 1,100 homes, remain unoccupied and in dire needs of investment and rehabilitation. In contrast, the focus has been placed on 18 short-term rentals, which make up only 0.3% of our housing stock. If anything is compromising neighborhood quality, it's the abandoned properties, not Airbnbs. Our Airbnb properties are designed to offer quiet enjoyment with strict quiet hours in place to ensure they are not party houses. In addition, given the national trend of triple-digit rent properties impacting communities, it's clear that market pressures are widespread and that addressing our vacant homes would do far more to stabilize and regulate prices. Furthermore, I ask, how are other communities operating single-family zoned areas managing to secure downtown revitalization grants while addressing similar challenges? This is a question worth considering as we evaluate our own policies. We welcome reasonable regulation as set forth by Erie County and New York State, regulations that ensure accountability without stifling local investment. Instead of focusing on a very small segment of our housing, we should redirect our efforts towards initiatives like Buffalo's $1 home program, which sells properties to occupied homeowners with requirements for owner investment and occupancy minimums. Such an approach would not only address our high vacancy rate, but also drive long-term neighborhood revitalization and economic stability. Thank you.
thank you, Mr. Hill. I can't read this name, is it Pat DePrimson?
Wait, don't start your timer yet, I'm old.
Take your time.
Now, I am Pat DeFree. I have lived at 856 Ridge Road for 20 years. I have owned that house much longer. Why? Because my mom had a severe traumatic head injury. She lived there. I was responsible for having the head trauma facility at all of them. You people are too young. Anyway, it was there. I have a vested interest and a love in Lackawanna. I chose to stay here. I bought her home. I have made this a beautiful place. If you look at the parking lot that's right next door, that was a disgusting, whatever, sorry, a playground. It is beautiful now. People come, they cut my lilacs, they enjoy what we have brought to Lackawanna here. Unfortunately, the trauma center closed. Okay, powers may be, insurances wouldn't pay for these people with traumatic brain injury. It was a terrible thing. We brought Mr. Brady here. It was wonderful. We were the best head trauma facility, intermediate care in all New York State. Okay, now let's turn around quick. Okay, now I turn around. Now, people come to us. We give them our love. We take care of them. People were abandoned on the street during a terrible snowstorm 2 years ago. Who opened their doors and fed them for 3 days?
Mr. Freeman, we've heard this the last time you spoke.
Okay, I hope I touch your hearts tonight, because we all need to have love. Amen.
Thank you. Steve Grady?
Name is Steve Grady, 856 Ridge Road. I need to address the point 5 under Mr. Clark's presentation to the board last public hearing meeting. Added burden on city resources. The claim is that we are short on code enforcement. And I think, to my knowledge, short-term rental has not been a problem in the past. There may have been parties, may have been noise complaints. We have regulations already in place to take care of that. Also, reasonable permit and registration fees would help properly staff code enforcement. We're not opposed to permits, registrations, inspections. Bring it on. We run our business top notch. Mr. Moretti's been in my place. It's beautiful. We take care of the property. We take care of the neighborhood. We need this income or we have to move. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Grady. Amy Duval?
Hello, my name is Amy Blundell. I've addressed you previously at length about my concerns about the approach that's being taken by the city council towards our efforts as community members to enrich our community as well as stabilize our own financial concerns raising our families in Western New York here. I'd like to appeal to you to find a solution where you can meet these development goals while embracing the entrepreneurs that invest in the city, that bring our own personal money and heart and energy into creating the type of community that people do want to invest in, that developers see promise in. We bring that, and we've invited all of you to tour our homes. And thank you to those who have come. We appreciate you. To those who have not come, you can see them on the news because we took a tour today with Channel 7 News, that you can check that news story out later tonight, which you'll be seeing our interviews in our homes. You'll also be seeing the dilapidated homes in our neighborhoods that have been abandoned by the city. We're also asking you, while you're considering resources, what it will take when we file an Article 78 to protect our interests, which are also your interests.
Okay, Ms.
As
Blundell,
city,
we're not gonna, excuse me, no. That's out of line. We're not here to discuss threatening lawsuits.
I'm not
You
threatening,
were
I'm
asked, bring
sharing.
forward things that may shed new light on this issue for us as a council. You suggesting Article 78, using resources because you're taking us to court, certainly is your right, but we're not gonna entertain it. Do you have anything else?
Well, I want to make you aware that that is a consideration when you're
We're
concerning costs.
We're well
I
aware.
also would
Thank
like you to know.
Thank you, that's enough.
So I'm being,
Yes,
okay.
Brandy Cordova?
I'd like to give my time to Jacob, if that's okay.
No.
Okay, Jacob, in his packet there for you, there's a vacant rental property program. We'd like to know why we're not applying for this vacant rental program. Because what it can do is, this program would give money to people to revitalize the properties that are vacant. As Corey said, there is many of them, and bringing money back into this city, being able to fix up the houses that are there would make us pro-housing. And it would just increase Lackawanna's housing stock to maintain Lackawanna's status as a pro-housing community.
Thank you.
That's all I got for you.
All right, next item.
Approval of the minutes of the reorganizational regular meeting of January 6, 2025.
Random moves to adopt minutes of the reorganization of the regular meeting of January 6, 2025 is written.
Already second.
Motion by Morano, second by Moretti to adopt minutes of the reorganizational regular meeting of January 6, 2025 as written. Maflahe?
Yes.
Anderson?
Yes.
Moretti?
Yes.
Sirdike?
Yes.
Morano?
Yes.
Carried 5-0. Departmental reports 1 through 4.
Random moves to receive and file departmental reports 1 through 4 inclusive.
Maflahe seconds.
Motion by Morano, second by Maflahe to receive and file departmental reports 1 through 4. Maflahe?
Yes.
Anderson?
Yes.
Moretti?
Yes.
Sirdike?
Yes.
Morano?
Yes.
Carried 5-0. Mayor Iafallo requests the City Council approve the contract with Erie County for the $800,000 from Erie County for capital projects. Contract attached.
Random moves to approve contract. Anderson seconds.
Motion by Morano, second by Anderson to approve request. Maflahe?
Yes.
Anderson? Moretti?
Yes.
Sirdike?
Yes.
Morano?
Yes.
Carried 5-0. Director of Parks and Recreation requests the City Council approve the use of Veterans Stadium for LA Sports Club on Saturdays and Sundays from 10 a.m. to 8 p.m. beginning Monday, May 3rd, and ending July 31st, 2025. Insurance information is attached.
Random moves to approve request. Anderson seconds.
Motion by Morano, second by Anderson to approve request. Maflahe?
Yes.
Anderson?
Yes.
Moretti?
Yes.
Sirdike?
Yes.
Morano?
Yes.
Carried 5-0. City Attorney requests the City Council approve a resolution waiving the residency requirement for the new Assistant City Attorney.
Random moves to receive and file act on resolution.
Moretti second.
Motion by Morano, second by Moretti to receive and file act on resolution. Maflahe?
Yes.
Anderson?
Yes.
Moretti?
Yes.
Sirdike? Morano?
Yes.
5-0. A resolution waiving the residency requirement for John C. Grinnell Esquire. Upon approval of this resolution, he will be approved as Assistant City Attorney.
Random moves to adopt resolution as written.
Moretti second.
Motion by Morano, second by Moretti to adopt resolution as written. Maflahe?
Yes.
Anderson?
Yes.
Moretti?
Yes.
Sirdike?
Yes.
Morano?
Yes.
Carried 5-0. City Attorney requests the City Council approve authorizing the mayor to sign the agreement between the city and Book Third Inc. Book Third Inc. provides online services allowing the public to view available sports and recreational facilities owned by the city and to process payments for various reservations. Book Third Inc. shall retain 5% of what is booked through their company, and the remaining 95% shall be dispersed to the city.
Morano moves to deny the request.
Maflahe seconds.
Motion by Morano, second by Maflahe to deny the request. Maflahe?
Yes.
Anderson?
Yes.
Moretti?
Yes.
Sirdike?
Yes.
Morano?
Yes.
Request denied. Failed. Denied.
Go ahead, move on.
City Attorney requests the City Council approve the ordinance prohibiting transient or short-term rentals.
Morano moves to receive and file act on ordinance.
Maflahe seconds.
Motion by Morano, second by Maflahe to receive and file act on ordinance. Maflahe?
Yes.
Anderson?
No.
Moretti?
No.
Sirdike?
Yes.
Morano?
Yes.
Carried 3-2. An ordinance adding Chapter 178, transient or short-term rentals prohibited to the City of Lackawanna Municipal Code. Transient or short-term rentals shall be prohibited in all districts of the city, specifically single-family residential, mixed residential, neighborhood commercial, central business district, regional commercial, mixed commercial, and industrial. Industrial, Bethlehem redevelopment area, open space, McKinley Parkway overlay, Seaway Trail overlay, Smokes Creek overlay, and planned unit development.
Morano moves to approve ordinance as written.
Maflahe seconds.
Motion by Morano, second by Maflahe to approve ordinance as written. Maflahe?
Yes.
Anderson?
No.
Moretti?
No.
Sirdike?
Yes.
Morano?
Yes, wait a minute. No, I vote no.
Oh,
Oh, wait a minute, I'm sorry, I was looking at the wrong section. I do vote yes on the ordinance.
okay, so now it's carried 3-2.
Thank you,
You're
sorry
welcome.
about that.
That's all right. It's carried. Request, number 11, city attorney requests the city council approve the proposed lease with the Lackawanna Little Loop Inc. lease agreement attached.
Morano moves to approve proposed lease.
Motion by Morano, second by Anderson to approve proposed lease. Maflahe?
Yes.
Anderson?
Yes.
Moretti?
Yes.
Sirdike?
Yes.
Morano?
Yes.
Carried 5-0. City attorney requests the city council approve 2 resolutions as amended by the city's bond council. A, IRS driven post insurance issuance tax compliance procedures, and SEC driven continuing disclosure compliance procedures.
Morano moves to receive and file act on resolution.
Moretti second.
Motion by Morano, second by Moretti to receive and file act on resolutions. Maflahe?
Yes.
Anderson?
Yes.
Moretti?
Yes.
Sirdike?
Yes.
Morano?
Yes.
Carried 5-0. Resolution dated February 3rd, 2025, adopting post-issuance tax compliance procedures. The IRS issues regulations requiring issuers of the tax-exempt obligations to certify that they actively monitor compliance with federal tax rules. Second resolution is dated February 3rd, 2025, adopting SEC-driven continuing disclosures compliance procedures. The SEC Rule 15C2-12 generally prohibits underwriters from purchasing or selling municipal securities unless the issuer of such securities has entered into a continuing disclosure obligation.
Morano moves to adopt resolutions 12A and 12B as written.
Moretti second.
Motion by Morano, second by Moretti to adopt resolutions 12A and 12B as written. Maflahe?
Yes.
Anderson?
Yes.
Moretti?
Yes.
Sirdike?
Yes.
Morano?
Yes.
Carried 5-0. Director of Public Safety requests the City Council approve Commissioner of Deeds status for Police Officer Casey Sleeman.
Morano moves to approve request.
Maflahe seconds.
Motion by Morano, second by Maflahe to approve request. Maflahe?
Yes.
Anderson?
Yes.
Moretti?
Yes.
Sirdike?
Excuse me, yes.
Morano?
Yes.
Carried 5-0. Business registrations. Ibrahim Mohsin Trade Mini Mart Inc., 169 Wilkes-Barre, retail, grocery store, and food mart.
Morano moves to approve business registration.
Maflahe seconds.
Motion by Morano, second by Maflahe to approve business registration. Maflahe?
Yes.
Anderson?
Yes.
Moretti?
Yes.
Sirdike?
Yes.
Morano?
Yes.
Carried 5-0. Miles Jamison, Accuracy Painting, 2600 Hamburg Turnpike, painting headquarters and storage.
Morano moves to approve business registration.
Maflahe seconds.
Motion by Morano, second by Maflahe to approve business registration. Maflahe?
Yes.
Anderson?
Yes.
Moretti?
Yes.
Sirdike?
Yes.
Morano?
Yes.
Carried 5-0.
Council, any table items or business, old business, anyone cares to bring up at this time? If not, Morano moves to adjourn, but I ask that we adjourn this meeting in memory of Mr. Morocco, Peter Morocco, Dino's dad, who recently passed away. He was a wonderful human being and well respected in the community. I'm grateful you're here today, Dino, but you have our sincere condolences. Thank you for being here.
Thank you.
At all.
And I'm sure it'll add on.
Motion by Morano, second at all to adjourn meeting in memory of Mr. Peter Morocco. Maflahe?
Yes.
Anderson?
Yes.
Moretti?
Yes.
Sirdike?
Yes.
Morano?
Yes.
Carried 5-0.